Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 5 Tips and Tricks for Careers in Athletics. I am your host, Dr. Maury Masovitz, with my all-time most favorite, the best, the most wonderful, most stupendous, most amazing co-host of all times, Jen Albanese. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Maury. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the podcast. I think I need a shirt that says all of those things that you.
I mean, it might have to go around the back. Like, we'll have to go like all the way around.
Yeah, I think that'd be hilarious.
Merch.
Anyways,
we can start developing merch.
Let's go.
That would be your part of the production.
That would be my area. That'd be my area for sure. Well, if anybody wants merch, let me know.
Put it in your comment section, like and review.
That's right. Exactly. Anyways, hi. Okay. What's going on?
Well, we have an amazing guest. So Dan Isaf, who go back so many years, truly a great guy in compliance, and compliance clearly a very underlooked area that is incredibly important for athletics. I know we talk a lot about college compliance, but compliance positions are throughout athletics, and these are the unsung heroes that keep everybody doing what they need to do
in line. Following the rules, all of that fun stuff,
and
right?
You couldn't have a more genuine, nicer guy to do it than Dan. So we're very happy to have him on today.
I know. Can't wait to chat with him. It's going to be so great.
So question of the day, could you be a compliance person?
I just don't know if I could I don't know. I feel like I'm too nice to be a compliance person.
You're just going to say yes to everybody?
No, I don't want to.
Dan's not a mean person.
No, he's not. And our compliance people, no one's mean.
No, they're actually very nice people.
I feel like you have to be so, I don't know, firm. And not that I'm not firm either. I guess I'm really talking down on myself, but I don't know. I just don't know if I could sit and read rules all day.
That's a good point.
That would just be a lot for me. I'm such a people person, and being in compliance is about being a people person in relationships and all that. But I don't know if I could just read rules and interpret them all day long and make decisions of yes, no, that kind of thing. Or
see, I couldn't live in I don't think I could do it. I give them a lot of credit because I know that it's not an area.
You're such a rule follower, though.
I think that's going to be the problem is that and not just that I'm a rule follower, that I take things to the ultimate, there are no shades of gray. It's very black or white. And I think you have to have the ability to look within the rules and find the gray. And I guess maybe in my older age, I'm getting a little bit better at it, but
you're much better at that. And that's something that everybody has to work on.
Yeah. But with the NCAA rules and how dry they are and how
and how much they're changing.
Crazy. I don't think I could deal with it without driving myself insane. I just don't think I could do it. And I give them all a ton of credit that they do it from day to day. So.
Yeah, that living in the gray is really something that I think people throughout their careers have to learn, and you get better as you get older because things are not just cut and dry. That's life too. Not everything is black and white.
But I would read an interpretation, no. They do those scenarios, and I'd be oh, well, this is really close to it, so no. And other people, I just don't know if I could tease all that out and defend it.
Yeah.
And you're always having to, I don't know,
defend yourself, defend your decision.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could do it.
I guess I'm saying it, but in our administrative roles, I guess we always are putting stuff out and having to back up what we say. But it just seems, I don't know. I guess the NCAA rules are so dry. I don't know if I could just deal with that part of it either. So
yeah,
but
that specifically, it's tough.
But we give a lot of credit to those that do it. So
oh my God,
compliance professionals, hats off to you all.
Round of applause because we need you. We need you, but wouldn't be us.
Yes. And with that, we're going to have one of the best compliance professionals when we come back from this break. So we'll see you after that.
Are you a loyal 5 Tips and Tricks podcast listener? If not, now is the time to start. Get all your info and fun content on the podcast by following us on all our social channels at @AthCareerPod. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast is a part of Athletic Career Consulting. Make sure to reach out to us. The one-stop shop for everything is our website, www.athcareer.com. Remember, follow and like us on @AthCareerPod, rate and review us, and get all your info at www.athcareer.com. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Maury, would you like to introduce our guest today?
Absolutely. Before he ever stepped into the world of NCAA compliance, he was a dedicated student athlete at Hartwick College, where he played men's lacrosse and finished his career with several school records in points and assists. He went on to earn his law degree, beginning his professional life in the legal field with roles in firms in New York, Illinois, and Massachusetts. After 7 years in law, he returned to college athletics, joining Syracuse University's compliance office. There, he steadily advanced from compliance assistant to coordinator and then assistant director, overseeing recruiting monitoring, submitting waivers and violation reports, leading rules education efforts, and managing Syracuse's intern and extern program. In 2013, he took the next step in his career by joining Bucknell as Associate Athletic Director for NCAA Compliance and Student Services. Today, he oversees compliance operations, eligibility, and financial aid certifications, rules education, student services initiatives, and serves as sport administrator for tennis and volleyball. Very happy to welcome to the podcast Dan Isaf. Welcome, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing great, Maury. Doing great, Jen. Nice to see both
Dan.
of you.
Good to see you
too.
Long time no see.
I know. I remember those days, Dan, at our NCAA tournaments where you and I were trying to figure out tickets and making parents get in. Dan and I spent many hours together at lacrosse tournaments trying to make sure that we didn't get yelled at by their parents.
I can visualize it now in the Boston hotel, Maury. Me and you in the lobby sitting there till all hours of the night trying to get the lacrosse tickets straightened out.
Like
Fun
placing
times.
people and then getting calls like, oh, this person now needs to get this seat. And I'm like, oh, we got to start over again.
Yes, fun times. Fun times.
The joys, great memories. It sounds
wasn't as digital back then. Dan.
No, that's what I was going to say. Like now, I don't even do anything. They sign up and they email or text the tickets to the people, and I'm like, I don't have anything to do with these tickets really much anymore. But
no, we killed many trees back then in the paper.
Yes, the orange cards, those orange cards, and stapling the tickets.
Oh my god!
Oh, it was terrible.
That was insane.
We're very happy to see you, and with that, we'd love you to give some tips and tricks to the audience. So start with your first one.
Sure, I would say the first one. It's going to be obviously my career is in compliance. I do have sport administration oversight and other things now that are getting added to my plate as I have been down here for 11 years now, whatever it is. Wow. But really compliance is my background, and most of my tips will probably be in that area. But first one for me, for a compliance professional, is you got to have integrity. You can't be unquestioned ethics and integrity and compliance is first and foremost. Again, that's not to say, you can't, you got to be a stiff and you got to be someone who's always, in the rules book and looking behind every corner and under every rug or whatever. But you have to have integrity, and you can't be questioned in that regard. So I think most good people who work in compliance in college athletics have that value and have that characteristic. And I think that's probably first and foremost, in my opinion.
I think it makes a huge difference too, because if you have people that are coming to you to look for what is the way to do things and the right way to do it, and you're kind of in a shady situation, I don't think people are going to want to be there and be like, what am I doing? And unfortunately, at the end of the day, you've seen those people nationally that don't kind of do it with that side of integrity, and that can be a huge issue for any institution. So,
right.
And it can test you probably very quickly in the compliance office about having integrity or not.
Yeah. There's times where I remember one incident at Syracuse specifically that, I certainly tried to get along with the coaches and stuff that I worked with and stuff, but had to file a violation. I'm not going to name any names, but had to file a violation in a certain instance. Walked into the old Manley Fieldhouse and witnessed a violation. And then the next day, I talked to the staff member, the coach that I had to talk to, but then I kind of got the cold shoulder for a while. I'm like, I thought we were friends. Or I'm like, I'm not saying we're not friends. I'm just saying what you did, you knew you shouldn't have been doing, and you did it, and I had to file a violation. But right. So it's that is something that I certainly take seriously, even before I was in compliance. I don't think I was someone who was going to bend the rules or anything like that. But you certainly got to have something where, again, my job is to protect the institution, right. Protect our student athletes, protect our coaches. But if someone I'm not looking to find violations. I'm not trying to. Our job is to monitor, but I'm not trying to catch people and be a gotcha moment. Even though what some
Right.
coaches might think, it's just like, hey, if here are the rules, we try to educate, and if you run afoul of them, well, then I got to report it. And
Right.
but integrity to me is probably first and foremost for anybody who wants to get into the compliance specifically. Probably goes for any field actually, but
I was
compliance
gonna say,
specifically.
I was gonna say that's just like a nice life rule for like anything, but especially in compliance. Just from like my perspective, working in marketing, like you guys are the people that I look to tell me the right thing to do. Like, what is the right thing to do? What's the rule? Like, I look to the compliance team to help us make the right decision and guide us down that right path. And if those people don't have that integrity or aren't doing that, then you're not leading the rest of the department down that path. Like
Right.
you just said, it's your job to protect the institution, and it's our job to follow your lead. And if we have questions or we don't know if something's right or wrong, or we need that guidance, we need that person with the integrity to lead in the right way. So not only is that good in college athletics, but it's a great life rule. Like just in general with people in life, like having integrity is kind of a good thing. So
for sure,
it's a really good one, Dan. A really good one.
Awesome.
Well,
Okay.
hopefully people will say I have it. So we'll see.
No,
I don't know if that's necessary.
Absolutely.
I don't think it's ever been questioned. I know
No.
from our
No.
side, I would never question. You would be one of the ones I think you probably got annoyed when I would go to your office and ask so many questions, because I'm like, Dan's going to give me the absolute truth in the absolute straightforward way. So
you always were very good, both of you, always asking questions and never got annoyed no matter what.
Other people might have, but not you.
People might have. Correct.
We were never annoying, Dan. Come on.
No,
we were never annoying.
Never.
Dan, that's awesome. Okay, number 2, started off strong.
Okay, number 2, I kind of touched on it a little bit, but like I said, you have to have some type of personality in the role as well. So you certainly want the integrity, but you also got to have someone who is personable, can talk to not only student athletes but coaches, senior level administrators, whomever you might be dealing with in the athletic department. You got to have somewhat of a I wouldn't say jovial, but you don't have to be like a joker or a clown, but you got to be someone that people are comfortable talking to, someone who people can relate to. That's kind of the one thing I tell anybody I hire. I have one person that works for me now, and certainly had interns when I was at Syracuse that I was in charge of, and sometimes the third position in Syracuse. I don't know how it's still. I think it's still set up roughly the same way at Syracuse. I'm not 100% sure, but the people I hire, that's I tell them, like, you can't sit in your office the entire day. You can't just be, communicating to people via email. You got to be visible and out and about in the department, and engage people when it doesn't have anything to do with compliance. It's how their day's going, what they're doing, things like that. So that would probably be my second one. I'll add to that is when I first got to Bucknell, maybe a year after I can't remember exactly. The basketball coach here at the time, for whatever reason, because he's a good guy. He's coaching at Holy Cross now, but somehow gave me the nickname Dr. No. And I I took it fine. I was like, oh, right over here, Dr. Knows. No, everything. And I just always came back to him and said, well, Dave, if you give me a question I can say yes to, I'm not Dr. No. I'll say yes. Quit asking me questions you can't do, and you don't have to worry about it. But I think we had a good, again, it shows a good relationship. I think today I still have good relationships with the majority of our coaches, I would say anyways. I'm sure there's some that probably don't like me for whatever reason, but I think you got to have a personality and be able to interact with people, but it has nothing to do with compliance, quite frankly.
Yeah. I'd say that it becomes so important, because from the other side, when you're a person that needs to go and get advice and be like, okay, I don't know if I did this wrong or right. Or, some people get nervous because they think, oh, I just did this, but they're afraid about getting in trouble. Right. And if you're going to go to go to a person, you don't want to go to a person that you feel like is going to like punish you or not be able to relate to you and be like yelling at you. Like, you want to go to a person that you feel like, okay, I've had a conversation. They're looking out for my benefit. They know the type of person I am, and I'm not going to try and do things intentionally. And instead of like being the one that's like, I don't care what you did, for whatever reason, you are now like banished and like that. Yeah. I mean, there unfortunately have been compliance people out there like that, and it totally will make a difference about if you want people to report. Like, I think that's the thing
Right.
that's so interesting, that people have such a negative thing, but the NCAA in a way probably expects that some things are going to happen. They don't want big things to happen,
Absolutely.
but mistakes are going to be made, and they'd rather you go to your compliance person and say, hey, I think I might have screwed up and I want to let you know. And at the end of the day, that's not a bad thing. That's the process doing what it's supposed to.
Yeah, 100% correct.
Well, and it's about a relationship too. Like you said, like you tell your staff, don't sit in your office all day long, like walk around, be visible, like build those relationships. And if you already are building that trust with the staff, with the coaching staffs, again, like Maury said, they feel comfortable coming to you and bringing a question or bringing a situation that you can help guide them on. But if you don't have that relationship with them, or they don't know you, they might not feel as comfortable to share things with you or talk to you about certain things. So relationships are key. It just shows that in every area, it's important to build those relationships.
Yeah, and I had actually just, was it earlier? I can't remember. I think it was earlier this week. Maybe it was the end of last week. A new coach we just hired.
I feel the same way about things lately. Time is not, it doesn't exist anymore.
And we just hired this coach, and there was a violation, and the coach is upset. I'm like, it's not that big of a deal. Don't worry about it. I got to file a violation, but this stuff happens. It's not a big deal. And I think they kicked themselves more, but I think,
right.
I know before they came in to see me, they talked to their sport administrator, not one of my sports, but a different sport administrator. It's like, oh, I got to tell Dana. I'm like, she's the sport administrator's like, he's fine. He's not going to jump down your throat. I mean,
he's not going to yell at you. Like,
right. And to Maury's point, that's exactly what the NCAA, if you never are reporting any violations, they're going to be like, well, what are you doing? Is there any compliance office there? You going, right. You don't obviously want major ones, but you certainly want to show that you're, educating and monitoring your coaches. And for this coach to come forward when I didn't catch the violation, the coach realized there's a violation and came to me to confess, I guess, or to self-report is the actual word. But so it's not that big of a deal. Like, coaches get all, especially new coaches or new assistants, young assistants, they're always like all nervous, like, oh, I can't believe they get all worked up. I'm like, it's not a big deal. Every coach in this department has had a violation at some point, so it's not a huge deal.
Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes.
I mean, there's so many rules. It's almost impossible not to fall into something that you had no intention of causing an issue for.
Correct.
Like, it's crazy.
Now, what boggles my mind sometimes is the veteran coaches that are coaching 20, 25 years. They keep having the same violation. I'm like, we've talked about this 17 times. I don't understand how that's possible.
That's where you're going to yell, Dan. Just kidding.
I don't think I've ever seen Dan yell, by the way. But
that's why I said that. I don't think
but it's been a couple times, but not very often. Not very often.
It's that one that just slips their mind every time. It's just that one of like, oh.
Yeah.
Part of that is. Didn't they change that rule? Isn't that one you get a lot?
Yeah. That's now that I've been doing it 20 years, the same thing. I'm like, well, I know the rule is this, but I think that changed like 4 years ago. I got to check myself. I don't remember. And so that's where you get stuck sometimes with some of the rule changes. I'm like, man, I've been in this too long because I don't know. I don't know if it changed or it's the rule it was when I was working at Syracuse or something.
Well, it's unfortunate for you because nowadays, like every day, you could have a different rule change. So it's I don't know how you guys keep up with it all.
Straight.
I don't know that I am. But I hope I am, but I'm not sure all the time. I got to double check myself a lot more than I did 5 or 6 years ago. But
it used to be a lot easier. It used to be very clear cut. So
100%. And some of that is like I actually just had a coach's rules education meeting the other day, and sometimes I'm doing these. I'm like, I'm saying the same thing I said last year about the same topic, and then it never ceases to amaze me that. Again, I got to remind myself, okay, there's 12 new coaches in here that are coaching for the first time that haven't heard any of this before. So I got to make sure I'm educating them. But it never ceases to amaze me that coaches have been coaching for 15, 20 years. They'll come in after the meeting and say, oh, so you said this. I'm like, yeah, that hasn't changed. It's been the same since you've been coaching for 20 years. I don't know what you're confused about. And we've talked about it every year I've been here. I don't know how you don't know that, but that's what I got to keep reminding myself is no matter how many times I get bored or sick of hearing myself talk, it's new people, and even the old people or the veteran people sometimes forget or aren't paying attention.
Need a reminder.
Correct.
I've thought sometimes to be a coach in NCAA, you might need a law degree. Like it's kind of crazy sometimes. Like it gets to the point of it gets very confusing So not that the same, there's some pretty rules that are easy to remember, but there's some things that I'll be,
Right.
Especially with like the periods of when dead periods start and stop and who's doing, I'm like, I need a chart. I can't do it.
Yes. Correct. This definitely gets confusing. Even for compliance people, it gets confusing sometimes. That's for sure.
Awesome. Okay, Dave,
right,
Dan.
number 3.
Oh my God. I was thinking of a coach.
Number 3, I'd probably say you got to be a clear communicator, whether that's in writing and emails or verbally when you're presenting to coaches. Like I was talking about the rules education meeting, clear communication. And this actually is apropos for my relatively new hire I just hired a few months ago. Sent an email to a coach about a rules interpretation. And he puts in like I believe. I'm like, well, it can't be I believe. You either got it's either
it
this
is
is the
isn't.
rule or it's not, right? So it's again, but you expect that with new people. So I'm like, you got to strengthen this up a little bit. Just you got to be clear in your communication. You don't want a coach or whoever athletic department staff member misinterpreting or having to read between the lines on what your communication is when they're asking for clarification on something. The communication's got to be clear, and so certainly in email form, it's got to be clear and straight and to the point, and you're not dragging on for hours and hours, paragraphs and paragraphs about what you're talking about, but it's got to be a clear communication. And similarly, when you're presenting, material in front of a group, you got to be comfortable, being in front of a group, a large group, small group. You got to be comfortable doing that, and you got to be confident in your material that you're presenting to be clear in your communication. You can't be like, well, you're like just reading the slides and not really knowing what the stuff is, or kind of half, coaches can tell whether you know the material or not, and they can tell whether you are confident in what you're talking about. So I think that's something that's you certainly got to, again, it's not just for compliance, it's certainly in every other aspect too. Clear communication in written form or an oral form needs to be something at the forefront, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I think communication is a lost form too. I feel like for the students and interns that are coming up, they struggle with that. Like, obviously because we're in like a texting, TikTok, whatever world, and communication is a challenge. Like writing a clear email is something that we work a lot with our interns on, because they're communicating with coaches, or whether you're communicating with a compliance officer, asking a question. Communication is something that is really important across the board to get your point across and what you're trying to say. And I can imagine in compliance, it's super important, because if something isn't interpreted the right way, it can cause a violation or break a rule or whatever. So I think that is something that I wish was more prevalent in like classroom in college, and like teaching them more about writing emails and that kind of stuff, because I feel like that's something that they lack when they come as an intern.
And that's not something you can fix with ChatGPT about being definitive or not.
No,
it does. It won't fit if making a definitive opinion is not going to get fixed in ChatGPT.
Correct.
Right. The other part is like, go ahead. I'm sorry, Mark.
No, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, there's just like in that communication is, I always tell the people I hire is, you may know the rule, you may tell the coach when they're in their office asking the question, but you better follow up an email so there's no confusion about, well, I thought you said this, and well, no, actually I said that, and so that's something that you got to. And I'm guilty of it sometimes too, because I'll tell the coach the thing, and I'm like,
elevator conversations.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're deadly.
My favorite thing is after per our conversation. That's like my favorite way to send an email. Like, per our conversation in the hallway 10 minutes ago, here's what I said. Like, so it's in writing form.
Yes, I just wrote one of those earlier today, Jen. Per our conversation yesterday, and I had to throw that in there.
It's my favorite. I love it.
But the other part I caught myself in, I don't know, the last few years anyways, is coaches will text the question, and if I'm home on the weekend or something, and I'm not on my email, like I text the answer back, and I'm like, I really should get this into an email sometimes. I don't always do that. I'm guilty of not doing it, but I rarely delete my texts anyway, so they're probably still sitting on there. I need to find them if I need to, but at least it's in writing, so there can't be any confusion.
Yeah, but then you got to go back and search your text, and I've had to do that before, to be like, oh man, how far back did we talk about this?
Yes. Yes.
A lot easier to put into Outlook and be like, what the name of the person. It definitely helps in that one.
Yeah, I'm not the most technologically savvy person in the world, so it's sometimes a struggle to find and do it. But I rarely delete my text, so I probably have some when I was at Syracuse still on this phone for all I know.
I better watch out what I put out to you back then.
I'll check and see if I have one from you. No, 12 years ago.
Oh geez.
Okay, well this is awesome. Number 4.
Yes, number 4.
Number
Jen's
4.
Got to keep me honest.
Yeah, this one probably more general than anything, but my advice would be to take the internship, take the volunteer spot, take whatever. If you're trying to get entrance to a field, whatever the field is, do what you got to do to get it. I mean, I talk to people all the time. I get law students who contact me, and I have one that I'm in contact with right now, or people I'm hiring, or people who have interest in the field, and they always ask me about my path. Well, you're a lawyer. What did you do? And I was like, well, yeah, I practiced law for 7 years in Boston, but I wanted to get back into college athletics. Every time I had free time when I was living in Boston, I was going to sporting events, whether they were pro or college. I prefer college to pro, but that's what I do in my free time. That's what my interest is. So I remember contacting schools in Boston, BC, BU, whatever it was. And ultimately I talked to Jamie Mullen at Syracuse, who was the head of compliance at the time.
Yeah.
And, he didn't know me at the time. And I just kind of reached out to him and said, hey, I introduced myself and kind of said, hey, I'm going to be back in New York because I'm from Central New York, obviously. And I kind of come by and see you. He's like, yeah, stop by and see me when you get back into town, or when you come to town. And I made an appointment with him and went up and talked to him. And thankfully he hired me as an intern. But I've been, I don't know, I had to be 35 years old at the time, I think, something like that. I can't remember. 35. It was in 2005. So I've been practicing law for 7 years and hadn't, I at the time I was thinking, I got a law degree, I've been practicing law, I should be able to go into, I didn't know what compliance really was.
Right.
And it's like, I got, legal background, I can certainly research and write and do this stuff, but schools I found out when I was applying to jobs, like, oh, that's great, but you don't really have any experience. You're going to need some experience. And that's when I realized I'm going to have to get an internship or do something. And Jamie, fortunately, gave me a chance. And I did an internship for, I don't know, it was 8 or 9 months before he hired me full time at Syracuse back 20 years ago. And I owe a lot to where I am now to him for taking a chance on me. But if I wasn't willing to, obviously I had to take a pay cut. We sold our house in Massachusetts, moved back to Syracuse, and thankfully it was better to sell there and buy in Syracuse. That helped the adjustment for a period of time. But willing to just say, hey, I got to start back from zero. It doesn't matter that I went to law school or was practicing as a lawyer or whatever. If this is what I want to do, I got to make a sacrifice and do it. And thankfully my wife was on board too at the time, or else maybe that wouldn't have been the case.
That would have been a big problem.
That would have been a big problem, but thankfully she sacrificed, and we both kind of sacrificed a little bit to ultimately get where I wanted to go. And don't regret it for a second now, but probably questioned it 20 years ago when I first did it. I'm like, well, are we really doing this? What are we doing? But just take whatever opportunity you have if that's the field you want to get into.
Yeah. I think a lot of people don't realize, they think that, you can easily insert yourself in athletics, whether it's college or pro, but the reality is there's a lot of people that do have experience and get that early on. And like, if you want to make an entry point, you have to build up a background in it. And, good for you for taking it and saying, hey, this is something I need to grow in to give myself an opportunity. Because, even I think young people think, we were talking about this with capstone internships. If they think like, hey, I don't need to do anything specific. It's just going to lead to me getting a career afterwards. And these positions are too competitive. The world of athletics is too small, and knowing people. I mean, how many times if there's somebody that probably came from Bucknell, I'm probably reaching out to you and saying that applied for a position. I'm going to go, Dan, what do you think of this person? Because I'm going to pull from the people that I know. And that's how you get to where you're going. And I don't think everyone's as aware of that as it really is critical in their path. And the value of it. Like it is much different in the inside of it than I think people realize from seeing it from the outside.
Yep.
Yeah, I think internships are key. We've said this a million different ways with all of our guests, but it doesn't, it makes sense to keep reiterating it, because I think, like Maury said, sometimes they just think, oh, I'm at this school, I'm getting a great degree that's going to lead to a job, when you actually need to get that experience, and any experience is good experience. Even if it's the smallest little thing, you got to put yourself out there and do it, because that's starting to build your experience and your network and everything. So it's so good to keep reiterating that, because I think people forget about it. And you would assume students would be like, well, yeah, duh, I have to get experience in compliance or facilities or marketing if that's where I want to be. But I don't think right now some people think they have to do that. So
Right. And then part of that is once you get into you get that internship or volunteer, make sure you're a team player. People need to help out. If I'm doing an internship in compliance, but Jen needs help in marketing, or Maury needs help with, flipping the dome, do you guys still do that or whatever?
I don't have
help
to do
out.
it as much.
Yeah. But help out. You might like that better than what you originally thought you're
Exactly.
gonna go into. So,
Yeah.
help out and be willing to try different things when you got the chance.
And I mean, it doesn't stop there either. Like, you want to get into sport administration, you probably need to get in and get involved with someone that's in it for a little while. Like every time you add something to your portfolio or do something a little bit more, it's, usually it looks like they're going to pick somebody that has a little bit of continuity or reference to it to help deal with that stuff. So, it doesn't stop just after your internship. It's being active and making sure to grow yourself. So it's something that's, a career long thing. It's a great point.
Yeah, and you make a good point on the, you're going to call somebody who at a different school. I don't think I would have got the Bucknell job if, John Hart, the athletic director at the time, had worked at Syracuse years ago with Pete Sala, and he had called Pete Sala, and I think somehow it got down from Pete Sala to release to, hey, you're interested in this job or whatever, and Pete Sala, I'm sure, and Rob Edson at the time would have put in a good word for me for John Hart, because he knew those guys and trusted what they said. So that it's probably helped.
It makes all the difference.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Big one,
Question.
Dan, here. All right. So what do you know now that you wish you knew then? So what do you know now at this point in your career that you wish you knew when you first started?
You're assuming I know anything now, Jen.
You know a lot, Dan. I can tell you that.
Well, there's kind of a two-part question or two-part answer to that in terms of, if I knew all the rules were going to change, I wouldn't have fretted so much about learning we're going to be able to pay players and stuff like that, share revenue. I didn't foresee that 20 years ago. That's
Yeah, no, very different, very different.
Yeah, didn't say that, but I would say the other one, not really compliance related, would be engage with the athletes that you're actually working with more on a personal level. I know they certainly they don't want to necessarily, I'm not talking about socialize with them or anything like that, but get to know them a little bit better. I've certainly had plenty of opportunity. I would say when I started at Syracuse 20 years ago, I'm thinking I got to get a job. I'm trying to be professional. I'm not trying to, be friendly with athletes necessarily. Not that they wanted to be friends with the compliance guy anyways, but I've come to learn in the last few years, particularly, some of the athletes that are engaging, and you'll be remarkably impressed by student athletes and that age group when you get to know them on a personal level. So there's a few at Bucknell right now that unfortunately are going to be, they're all seniors right now, that I've gotten to know very well over the last few years. Mostly it's because I'm the sport administrator, but part of it was I wasn't a sport administrator for a couple of these programs with student athletes. And I just see the relationship kind of developing, and thinking like, this is someone I'm going to follow up with, 5 years from now to see, is she married? Does she have a family? Whatever it is, and hopefully stay in close contact with. And again, not looking to be best friends, and not looking to, socialize necessarily with them, but, maybe 5 years down the road when they come back, hey, let's go grab a drink or grab something to eat and something catch up. Or that, I certainly wasn't thinking that 20 years ago when I started. I'm like, I just want to try and get a job and get the job done and not screw anything up or anything like that. I wasn't really interested in getting to know the student athletes, and again, it's got to be a two-way street. They don't.
Right.
It's still few and far between. There just happens to be some student athletes. I think more as a sport administrator, you get to know them more than necessarily I would in compliance. But But those relationships, I'm starting to realize, maybe it's because I'm just getting old and sentimental. I don't know what it is, but I'm just seeing this particular senior class at Bucknell. There's a handful of student athletes in a couple different sports that I've got very good relationships with. I went on a foreign tour with our men's tennis team this past summer, so you get to know them better when you're going on a foreign tour. And so that this class I'm certainly going to miss when they're gone next year, and hope to continue to build relationships with other student athletes. But I'm looking right now like on, I don't know if I have the relationships with some of these underclassmen as I do with the current seniors at the time. So
it's interesting because coming from a sport where you're like in the thick of it and getting really to know the student athletes in that sport, to then was transitioning to be like in a unit. It's a different experience, especially one that doesn't like academics. You're assigned to certain teams, you build a relationship. Sports medicine, you're assigned to certain teams and build a relationship, and you're literally with them constantly. When you're in a support unit, like compliance, marketing, facilities, create, like you don't always get the opportunity to engage with them because your job doesn't do it. It doesn't put you in that position all the time. Like they're coming to see you maybe sometimes when it's not the best situation, or, I'm going to fix something or check out something, but, making that effort and, getting to know them and it is a transition, and like to try and feel comfortable because you don't want to like,
overstep or make it uncomfortable or anything like that. Yeah.
So
they're people too, they want to be treated like, not a number on a page, and you want to build those relationships with them too, to help guide them, because in college athletics, that's why we're all here. I know that the world is changing, but we're here for these student athletes. We wouldn't exist if they weren't here and competing at a collegiate level. So that's part of it too. They're people, and you want to have those relationships. So I like that one.
House class going, all those things. It's so easy to just break in, and like, honestly, some of the stuff that they have going on is so interesting that, what they're doing in the court. But like, I had a student athlete a while ago that was like, oh, I'm doing this huge study with a professor and I'm going to publish, and they're telling me all about this research paper they're doing. And wow, like I had no idea that you were working on those things and being a part of it. And, building those relationships just expose you to just all these different things that you would never have known about them without, engaging. And it just takes that, conversation. Hey, how's it going? What are you up to? And it starts something.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when I was at Syracuse, the one class of guys I got to know very well was that Joel White, John Galloway class with Quadagnolo, that whole crew, John Lead, Jeremy Thompson, I think it was. They were all about the same year. There might have been a year off. Sid Smith. Yeah.
It was that 08 championship.
They won that championship as freshman. I mean, Joel White and I are from the same hometown, so I knew his mother, and I knew that kind of was an obvious connection. But the guys, then I see John Galloway, 5 years later, he's coaching Providence, and he gets a Jacksonville job. I'm in communication a little bit with him from time to time, and I actually hired someone a couple of years ago from Jacksonville who knew John Galloway. So I said, hey, text him and tell him this or whatever. And
hey, he's a previous podcast guest. He was
is he? I didn't see. I'll have to go back in the archives and find that one.
That was a good one.
Season 1.
Yeah, he's a great guy. Great guy. Was outstanding goalie, obviously, and very good coach. So, but again, when he was in college, you could see a maturity beyond his years at the time that was just different from others, and just a good guy. And I'm glad he's having success in his coaching career.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Dan, thank you. We were awesome seeing you and having you on and giving some insight to what you do. I'm sure people are 100% going to appreciate this. So thank you for spending time.
I don't know. You might be a little generous on that, more. They might be like,
no, I'm telling you, people are going
to. No, this was so great. Such a good conversation and a good perspective that we haven't had. So I think it'll be really good for everybody. So thank you so much.
You're welcome. Glad to catch up with you guys.
I know.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, thanks everybody for listening. Make sure you're following us on all your social media at AthCareerPod and listening on all your podcast platforms. We have new episodes every Tuesday. So thanks everybody for listening.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
If you like the 5 Tips and Tricks podcast, make sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. You can rate and review us, including questions that may be answered on future episodes. The 5 Tips and Tricks podcast for careers in athletics is part of Athletic Career Consulting. Check us out at www.athcareer.com. Don't forget to follow and like us on your top social media platforms.